Hi, thank you for pulling me up.
Hmm.
What is the truth and who has found it?
Truth is the devotion to the truth, and the one who finds it is the one who is devoted to
Thank you.
Uh,
it. Hello?
I wanted to ask you this question, following other people's questions up until now. You have always been the one who said that when people face near-death experiences, they see their mortality, and people tend to seek truth after that. Is there? I hate to say the
Well, no,
word.
I don't remember saying that, but if they do happen to seek truth after that, it doesn't mean that one has to have a near death experience. But,
Uh, yeah. So
you
I
know,
wanted to ask you this question: would you recommend? And I hate to use the word recommend, because you would probably say you don't want to give any prescriptions, but would you recommend subjecting myself to anything? And I don't mean near death, but following a certain any experience that would bring me closer or make it easier for me to see the truth.
I would say that uh, the understanding that one's entire life is a lie, and that all that one is seeking, even though he genuinely may want X, Y, or Z, he is on a chase for it, and that chase makes it a lie. It doesn't mean that the thing that he's looking for he shouldn't get or won't get, but the fact that he is chasing it, and that all the things that he is chasing in his life is a lie, and he must examine himself to see if that is okay with him.
Okay.
I just want to know, have you realized the truth that you speak about?
My best answer to that question would be to read the works that I have put out so that you can answer that question for yourself, as
Thank you.
opposed to me saying yes or no.
Hello, Dr. Gupta.
Hello?
What is the relationship between human suffering and truth?
It's a very dressed up question. Be more grainy and ask what you want to ask.
Does is yeah is suffering an impedance? Is it a distraction? Is it a path to?
I think absolutely it is. It is because when a person suffers and the suffering is continuous, it depending upon his or her DNA, it tends to, if the person has a particular DNA, is of a particular type of individual who likes to know and learn and to um, discover, uh, then absolutely suffering can set them on the path to truth because it tends to reach, it tends to take a human being to a rock bottom place.
Thank you.
Sure.
So there are prescriptions which get nowhere, and then there are mechanical prescriptions which have their use. I'm missing something in my understanding that allows me to
What you're
decisively.
missing, well, what you're missing is that you're brand new here, and so, I mean, it's sort of like coming in on, the 575th part of the conversation. Um, so you're there should almost be a note on this room which says, "Don't come until you've spent a couple of years reading and having gone through my work." Not because you should, not because it's good for you. There's no compulsion to do so. But without having done that, um, there will be so much that simply there are going to be so much prequels to the sequel that are just not going to be understandable. So you're going to have question after question after question just to get to level one.
Hi, Dr. Gupta.
Hello.
After some introspection, I've realized that I can see some of the source of my anxiety and other issues. With that digging, I seem to reach a kind of a rock, layer, which is desire, right? And the strongest desire kind of always wins out. My question is desire a building block of the mind, and where does it come from?
It's all mind.
Hey, doctor. Thanks again.
Hello.
You've mentioned chasing a lot, that everything is a chase, and that's sort of where the beginning is. This is sort of a follow-up on my question about preferences because it seems very similar to the idea of chasing. I know from reading your work that even though you don't, not that you don't recommend, but you call out the emptiness of preferences and chases. You don't advertise or recommend passivity either, in that you just do nothing all day. If there's no preferences and there's no passivity, then what is there?
Well, exactly, and that's exactly the point. Is you're looking for a thing. You can't stand because of your intellectual nature. You can't stand not having a thing. It isn't this and it isn't this, so there's got to be some this. So what's the this? And I can't handle this gray area. I need a black and white. And I've understood that it isn't this black and white, and it isn't that black and white. But there's got to be some black and white, and you're not telling me what it is. And this is what you're not getting. And this is.
Hello.
Hello?
I want to know, is the difference between chasing desire and true longing a compulsion for the activity, such that in desire there's the chase doesn't have a compulsion to it?
Well, you started off promising, and then you ended up with desire does not have a chase component.
Sorry, I might have mixed up some words. It's just, is the difference between desire and longing that with longing there's something where one feels compelled to keep going?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. Longing, words are words. So it isn't about attaching this word to that, and from now on we're going to call it this, not that. It is about understanding the essence of what I say. Not that you should, but if you choose to, it's about understanding the essence of what I say, as opposed to the exact word. Because then, if you don't do that, then what you will do is you will begin to worship the words. You will begin to turn the words into ideals, and you will prescriptionize them, because then you will start saying things like, well, is that a desire or is it a longing? And that's back to academia nonsense again. So it's understand the essence, turn the essence into a wordless something to where you genuinely understand. And that can only be done by someone who wants to understand, not by the person who likes to play games. Because the game player, the insincere game player, will come and say, aha, well, isn't this a prescription? Well, aha, isn't this a desire? Aha. We call that a longing, but is it really? He likes to play classroom games, and that kind of a human being just has no place here. But your question is a good one. There is the longing, and you don't have to use the word longing. You can use the word, monkey grass gorilla if you want. It doesn't really matter. The essence is that there is the purity of something, the purity of wanting something, and then there's a desirous chase for something, which fundamentally is pleasure.
Thank you. One thing, just to make it easier, you can create a club on Clubhouse, and then you can have a list of rules so people know coming in how you want to run the room.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that. Thank you.
can you say something on stopping of mind?
No, nothing here is going to help you about that. That's an ongoing journey. That's a systematic ongoing journey. There's no do this to
I
stop the mind.
no no.
Hello, doctor. Uh,
Hello?
can you explain what is ego?
It's all mind.
What kind of friends must you abandon to start on the path to truth?
You don't have to abandon anyone. There is no must you do anything. Anything that you do by force is false. It will lead you only to ruin. There is no must you do this or that.
What kind of friends
If you
best
genuinely
support the path of
understand,
truth?
I'm sorry?
What kind of friends best support the path of truth?
There's no friend supporting the path of truth. There aren't 2.5 people in the world who are looking for truth. You think you found one in your own community?
Hello, and thank you so much for
Hello?
taking my question.
Mhm.
As I've become more exposed to your work, I can answer almost all of my questions before I ask them. Do humans searching for truth ask questions to anyone other than themselves?
Yes, they can ask the question to someone who understands the truth, or at least the path to truth. The problem with asking questions to yourself is, unless you are firmly entrenched and firmly well on your way to the truth, then asking a question to yourself will only receive a message from your conditioned mind.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing me up.
Yes.
Letting go of ego to meet the truth can be extremely scary. How? And
There's no how. There's no how.
I
There's
know.
not. You don't have a prayer. There's no way in the world that you are going to let go of ego. Don't even try it. Don't even ask the question. It's not going to happen.
Why do people choose to use drugs and alcohol?
You can ask them.
Yeah, hi Kapil. Doctor, thanks for this opportunity. I have a question. So I have gone through many methods. Everything seems to be, repetitive, and as you once said, I always tend to go to the defaults. So what is the possibility of, going and searching for truth? I always arrive at the defaults.
What do you mean? What is the possibility?
So how do I escape, or how do I get out of these repetitive patterns which I see in
Well, you're
myself?
not going to get out of it unless you don't see the value in it anymore. As long as you believe there's value in it, there's no possible way you're going to get out of it.
Hey, hi, good evening. I have a question. I'm sorry, I'm not totally familiar with everything, but is a need a desire?
Same thing.
Hi again. You talk a lot about a DNA. Are you talking about a particular
No, I'm not
nucleotide
talking about
sequence?
genetics. I'm not talking about genetics. I'm talking about one's personality, how a person is wired.
When you answered a previous questioner regarding wanting to get a prescription to escape their mind, when you told them that was useless, were you saying that their self and their mind are the same thing, or that they
The self
themselves
and the
cannot
mind
speak
is
through
the
their
same
mind?
thing. Is the same thing, but one can conquer the mind. But one cannot conquer it by asking a how-to. These are things that happen over time through a systematic exposure and a journey, that these things begin to happen. But they cannot be
So the self
happened
is the
according
mind,
to...
but can transcend it?
Yeah, you're not going to understand it.
Yes, I
Because
doubt I will.
you are looking at it through intellectual means. But forget
Right.
the self. The mind can be conquered, but it cannot be conquered by asking, how do I conquer it? What do I do? Give me the 5-step plan.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Is desire a trick I'm continually falling for?
Everything in your life is a trick that you're falling for. Good night.